There are three very excited man-children in the studio right now, and that's because we have just bought, with our own money, a GE Profile Smart Indoor Smoker. Indoor smoking was a thing of imagination only until recently.
Barbecue smoking, brilliant in Texas and all of the other places in the US because it never rains. In the UK, it rains a lot. So being able to smoke inside means negating all of that weather.
But we don't want it to be too smoky inside either.
No, which is why I'm excited. Because how does it get the smoke in there but not out here?
It filters it, or so it says.
So it's got a lot of preset modes: brisket mode, pork butt mode, pork ribs mode, wings.
Can you select the weight of those ingredients that you're putting in?
No, you can't select the weight. So if you were to say brisket, it would give you a suggested cook time and temperature.
Okay.
It also comes with a probe that we can insert into it and then cook by temperature rather than by time. How we like to cook here quite often.
But also how you should cook any barbecue when you're smoking anything.
Yeah.
You want to do that by temperature, not by time.
So there are presets, but there's a custom setting that you can just enter your own bits.
Exactly. So I think we're going to go custom with our first cook because we both know how we like our pork done and we know the temperature that we're aiming for. So we're going to start it today, let it run overnight, and fingers crossed it is cooked tomorrow.
Wow, that's big.
That's a hefty chunk as well, isn't it?
Is that going to fit in?
So it's a 4 kilo bone-in pork shoulder or pork butt, and I've measured it, it just fits.
Okay.
It says it does whole brisket, whole pork shoulders, so it should handle this size pork shoulder.
Now this is something that I do on my smoker at home. What I think we're going to be needing to look for is a very precise temperature that it's going to be cooking at, so we can get it up to the right temperature. But also what I'm really interested in is the level of smoke that we can get from an indoor smoker. Because you could do that in an oven.
Yeah.
You could just do that in an oven low and slow and you'd get really lovely pulled pork. But what we're looking for is the next level. It's the smoke element. Customize. Smoker temperature. Oh, you put this in Celsius, haven't you?
Oh, so I cook in Celsius.
Because we live in Britain.
Yeah.
Yeah, but smoking is an American thing for me, and so therefore everything's in Fahrenheit.
So I do 110, which is about 225.
Perfect.
So we want the internal probe target to be, I think, 82 degrees Celsius, which is pullable, but not so overcooked that it falls apart if you drop it. So you can select the amount of smoke up to 5. So I think we'll go full amount of smoke.
It's 5 smokes.
5 smokes. Ooh, add water. So this doesn't add steam. This apparently captures the burnt wood pellets and extinguishes them.
Okay.
Interesting.
Add pellets here, 2 cups.
What pellets are they? What wood?
These are ones that came with it. They are wood pellets. It's a premium blend designed for use indoors with the Profile Smart Indoor Smoker. The premium blend is good for poultry, fish, pork, lamb, beef, veggies, cheese and game. It does say blend, so I'm guessing it's a bit of everything. It's got an auger, a big screw that turns and feeds the pellets into the burning chamber. So it's that technology isn't new, because you get that in pellet smokers for outdoors.
So the smoker is preheating.
Yeah.
Time to prep our pork.
We're gonna go with a brine injection. We're gonna go with a spice rub bound onto it with standard American mustard. So we're getting all the flavour into the pork and the flavour on the outside.
So what's actually in this thing, Kush?
So it's the rub, added a bit more salt and sugar to bring it up to about 3% brine solution. So very, very mild in terms of salt. And I've also added some pomegranate molasses, ginger ale, and a bit of liquid honey as well.
Wow.
So it's got a bit of everything in there. And you can actually see the meat growing as you squeeze.
Plumpy baby.
Plumpy baby. So I would like as much of that liquid in and around the pork. And at the end of the day, we're giving this piece of pork as much love and as good a chance as possible.
That's what I'm interested in, is to see what kind of bark we get on the outside. So the crust that develops on the outside of the pork. What you want is the sugars and everything are going to caramelize. It's going to be dark and crusty on the outside, but then tender and moist on the inside.
But you're leaving that big strip of fat off.
Yeah, because that hopefully will render as it cooks, and then whatever's excess you can literally trim off. You can finally chop it and stir it back through your pulled pork for really dirty pulled pork.
It has preheated.
Woohoo! Right, it says add probe. So we're going to try and get it to the centre of the pork without touching a bone.
Do you want me to come around and put it in?
I think, Michael, you can do that for us.
Yeah. It fits.
Ta-da! Ooh, right.
We've set this to keep cooking or keep smoking until the internal pork reaches a certain temperature. And then as soon as it's done that, it's then going to hold it at that temperature.
It's going to drop down 10 degrees and hold it. I think I've set it to 72, 74 degrees Celsius. So it's hot, but it won't carry on overcooking. And when we take it out, it'll be ready to hopefully just give it that lovely jiggle and then pull and chop and mix.
I really hope this is good.
Well, tell you what, let's do the standard sorted blink and we'll see how we get on.
It is bright and early the following morning.
Not that early, because you two took until 10:30 to get here.
Kush and I had train problems.
4 trains to get here.
Separately, we don't live together.
Yeah.
Not during the week.
Not anymore.
But the machine comes with an app, so you can track the progress, and there's various settings in on that. And that's been going off all night, right?
It alerted me after 9 hours that the pork had reached the correct temperature. I'd say 9's a good average. But then technically it's been holding now for 8 hours and 33 minutes, which at 75 degrees C is still really gently cooking it. So you could add the two together, do some quick maths and get to, 17 hours and 37 minutes of cookery, which sounds great.
When I came in this morning, I unlocked the studio, I turned the lights on and I left, and it took me a couple of minutes to remember what we had been doing. And the whole studio didn't smell of smoke, it didn't smell of the pork either, which made more sense when I realised it had been hot holding it since 1 o'clock this morning. The smell had not permeated throughout the studio, which I was quite surprised about.
Let's get it open.
Right.
Is that steam?
That is steam.
That is steam.
Okay,
That is
steam.
one drippy bear. It's got a lovely rubber seal around it, like a domestic oven at home. So it's trapped in all the steam and vapour. So hopefully it'll be uber juicy. But I can't imagine it's going to have a bark.
Interesting.
Very interesting. It's not very barky. The colour of said bark at the top is pretty much jet black, right at the top there. But then it fades down to a more even glow. And then on the front side, there's patches of it looks like no smoke's touched it on that side and the other side. Not what you expect if it's surrounded by smoke for X amount of hours at the beginning of cookery.
I think maybe that's partially, I don't know, due to some sort of ventilation, the smoke rising and the concentration of smoke being at the top. I don't know.
There's no fan in here, so the only convection you're getting is naturally from the heat elements. The bottom heat element sits under the drip tray at the back, and so any fat that's dropped onto the drip tray here has
solidified because it's been under a direct
yeah, but
heat
turned
source.
to almost charcoal there.
Okay,
so that would give a very different smoke from the wood smoke.
Let's hack into it.
But yeah,
Let's get into it.
well, it's got the jiggle and the bone.
Okay.
The bones come out.
Bones come out, it's
Yeah.
quite clean.
Looks to be behaving how we'd hoped.
So far, it is extremely moist.
Very, very moist.
Very moist. There we go. So that's
That's a very clean blade.
a very clean bone. And that's what you want. You want it to basically come out with no meat stuck to it. That means all the collagen and cartilage that's been sitting on the bone has rendered down and
Broken
melted
down.
away, turned to gelatin.
And the one thing we haven't mentioned is how good it now smells.
It smells incredible.
It smells so
And when you
good.
actually open the door, you did get
Yeah.
that waft of real barbecue smoke.
Very minimal smoke ring. It's not where smoke penetrates, it's where it's a chemical reaction within a non-oxygen rich environment, which keeps the outside of the meat pink, so the hemoglobin gets locked in. So using the nitrites, something to do with that. It's not smoke penetration, it's just where that happens traditionally in a smoker, in a low oxygen environment. There's a tiny smoke ring, you can see it just there.
And is a smoke ring good?
A smoke ring is a visual thing.
Guide.
It doesn't taste anything different.
No.
But people expect it on smoked barbecue.
Okay.
So at this stage, I would say my initial thought is not what I would expect from an outdoor smoker, but much better than you'd get from just putting it in the oven.
Yes.
Correct.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Do we know it's smoked yet? Does it taste smoky?
It smells like it.
Eat it.
Eat it.
And give me some. Cheers.
Cheers.
Texture-wise, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
The flavour of the pork is phenomenal. I know it's the cut, but the pork flavour really comes through.
Pork comes through. You can taste the dry rub. You can actually see where the brine has got inside the meat.
I'm not sure I'm getting as much smoke as I have achieved in an outdoor smoker.
I wouldn't say this is smoked pulled pork. This is not a smoked shoulder, in my opinion. It's a slow roasted pork shoulder with some smoke with it side by side.
Yeah.
It hasn't been cooked by the smoke, but it's got a very delicate smoke in the background.
Which is really pleasant.
Really pleasant.
Great, isn't it?
And I think with a bit more of the rub, a bit of a barbecue sauce that's got a bit of a kick, a bit of vinegar to it, in a bun, I think it'll be a delicious sandwich.
And we set the smoker to the maximum amount of smoke
5 smokes.
available. We put 5 smokes in this. Okay.
So if you were to swap this 4 kilos of shoulder out for 3 slabs of belly, you'd have more surface area, and therefore you should get more smoke if you wanted a really smoky pulled pork using this machine.
I'm really enjoying this. It's great breakfast. You'd have really liked this.
Yeah, fantastic. So, as I say, it's hyper convenient. It told me when it was done, and that meant I could look forward to doing this all night in my dreams.
It's the set it and forget it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Style.
I think we'll give it a couple more chances, a couple different things with testing it, and see how quick it can cook, and if it can get smoke in a short cook, if that makes sense. Like, could you put something in it for dinner, go for a shower, come back, and it's smoked and roasted at the same time?
What is the plan?
We know that it generates smoke and it cooks accurately to the right temperature. How about putting in some salmon portions to get as much surface area as possible? So we're looking for like a hot smoked salmon, like cooked through, light smoky flavour, little salad on the side, very summery. And also probably the opposite, we've got some jalapenos that have been stuffed with Monterey Jack, garlic, herbs, cream cheese, and wrapped in pancetta and bacon. Ideally, I'm looking for some form of crisp on the bacon, a gooey centre, a crunch to the pepper, I don't want it too mushy, and a nice little amber colour. And then we'll glaze them up with some barbecue sauce, and they are a canapé.
Do we need to top up pellets, or how's the water tank looking?
Good idea, good idea. Let's pull that out and see. The water tank is still full of water.
And ash.
Or burnt pellets.
Yeah.
Still got about a cup of pellets in there, so that'll be enough for this one.
Only used 1 cup.
Only use 1 cup of pellets for that whole pork cook, whereas you'd burn through a lot more if you had a pellet grill, obviously, but that's being fired by the pellets. So we're going to load them onto the racks. We've got the smoker set to 130 degrees C, full smoke on number 5 again, and for about 20 minutes, half an hour.
It's been 40 minutes.
Yeah, a bit longer than I expected,
Yeah.
but we gave it a bit more time to see if we get a bit more colour and might be cooked a bit better. And smoke alarms. Oh, that looks really mighty good.
Mighty good.
Mighty good.
Mighty good.
They look great.
They do look great, and you can definitely see the smoke coloration on the salmon.
Yeah.
And the bacon has rendered down. We'll cut into this piece and
See how it's
reveal the
cooked.
inside. So 40 minutes, quite a while to cook salmon, but it's definitely well done. That's not a bad thing though, as long as it's juicy and you get some smoke flavour, because that's why we're cooking in here.
Yeah. Still nice and flaky.
Still nice and flaky. It smells smoky.
Yeah. Lovely and moist.
Really moist.
Again, a lick of smoke without being smoked.
Which is probably what you want with delicate flavours as
Definitely what
with
you want
fish
with
and
this.
salmon.
Yeah. So that is traditional hot smoked salmon. Flakes perfectly, really nice cold, or just warm, and it's got a lovely colour to it. I really love the colour because that is the smoke colour.
How about your porky cigars?
They haven't crisped up fully, but the fat has rendered out. They feel tender, but they haven't exploded at the same time. So I think a lick of barbecue sauce and then try and eat them.
Woo.
Cheers. Yep, they work.
The bacon on the outside is perfectly cooked, but the jalapeno is still crunchy. It
has a bite,
in the middle.
good.
Yeah.
Has a bite, liquid cheese centre,
Yeah.
sweet glaze.
What's not to love?
What's not to love about those?
Question is, can you taste any smoke?
No.
No. Okay. Do you think they're a less smokable item?
I think maybe the percentage of fat on the outside, when the actual smoke adhere to it, whereas the salmon's far more protein based. There's a lot more flavour in the final pepper.
Competing.
With the smoke flavour.
Okay.
Where with the salmon, which was just salt and salmon and smoke, that was the only thing, therefore it comes through.
Right, boys, I'm going to press you for an overall summary and opinion.
Straight out of the box, it was very easy to use. Very intuitive. We were able to preset different functions and then customize it to do what we wanted to do with it.
Okay.
It then cooked it like a desktop oven and added a lick of smoke. I wouldn't necessarily call it an indoor smoker. It's an oven with smoke.
Okay.
I would wholeheartedly agree. Really easy to set up, really nice user experience, it feels well made, it looks good. It is large, but if you've got the space, you're not going to quibble about that. It isn't a true smoker, as you said. It's a very accurate, smart, very temperature efficient indoor oven with added smoke. If you really love smoking meat and you had to move into an apartment, this will get you a close result. But if you've got the space outside, this can't compete with an outdoor smoker.
One of the most impressive things about it for me is the fact that it doesn't stink out your whole house with smoke, which I guess is the point of having an indoor smoker, and the ability to smoke or add smoke in this form to large chunks of meats, which is where it would appeal to me. I think my opinion has manoeuvred throughout the whole course of the video. But if I told you that this is selling for $999, I mean, it does what it says, and it feels like it's designed for a specific target group who may feel that that's worth it. But what are you thinking when you hear that?
As a smart indoor smoker, in that category, it's fantastic because I've never really heard of one.
You can smoke things for a lot less in a lot less convenient ways. But if you want to spend that sort of money and get decent results, people will.
Yeah.
And it's the first of its kind, so the price should start
Probably
tumbling
come-
down.
yeah.
As soon as we get another competitor in the market, that price will be slashed.
Lovely stuff. Well, what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Is this the type of gadget that would be interesting to you, and what are your thoughts having now watched our Chef and Our Normal test it? Also, if you love seeing us review these big ticket appliances, then give the video a like and we'll get more done.